Thank you for visiting my channel. Today we're going to do an open cup pour, but I just want to share with you how I got into this fluid art. First of all, what is a hobby? Well, the definition is an activity done regularly in one's leisure time for enjoyment. As a senior, that is someone born in 1958, I want to share with you my hobby, which is acrylic fluid painting or pour painting or flow painting or whatever it means to thin acrylic paint and create beautiful pieces of artwork on canvas, wood, glass, or any object that you may find. I stumbled across a pour painting when looking to finish a few, or at least 6 wooden paddles to hang in our North Georgia mountains, one for each of my 6 grandchildren. I found raw wood paddles. I wanted to finish them. I couldn't figure out how to do it. I came across gesso, primed the wood, watched a couple of YouTubes and poured some acrylic paint onto to create these beautiful hanging paddles for each of my grandchildren. So I got hooked and have been experimenting with this technique for a little over a year. Today I'm going to take you through an open cup pour. I'm using 2 size open cups. I just take a paper cup, cut off the end, create an open cup which I'm going to pour the paint into. Then have a smaller one to create a slightly different effect. I'm going to do the same thing through both of them. I've pre-painted my canvas in black. This is a 16 by 20 gallery wrapped canvas. I prefer to use a gallery wrapped because it's a kind of a box canvas, as you can see at the back, and I have prepared the back. I've taped the sides, so it's going to be nice and clean. I have it on push pins, so the painting is not going to sit in the paint that pours off the painting, because we are going to stretch it out. Stretching it out means we're going to let the paint flow over the edges of the painting. So let's start. First of all, I am going to put on my apron. I am very messy and a lot of my clothes are covered in paint. It's always good to wear an apron if you can. It doesn't help me all the time, but it usually does keep some of it clean. I'm going to show you my colors first. This is a beautiful aquamarine blue. It's a couple of different colors that I mixed together. As you can see, it drips off the stick pretty easily. It goes into the paint. It lands mound over mound. It's not too thin. I don't like using paint that's too thin because I feel it loses its integrity. I prefer using it a little thicker. I use Floetrol and a combination of liquid pouring medium, Liquitex pouring medium. You get a beautiful consistency. I do add different paints, different colors, metallic, to get the effect that I like. In fact, a little funny aside is I have a 90-year-old mother who was visiting last year, and I said to her, showed her my paintings, and I said, well, you know what? I'm probably an undiagnosed artist from my youth. But anyway, it's quite funny. Here is some pearl, beautiful metallic pearl, same thing, nice and thick. I use these jars from Lowe's, very easy to use, and they do come with a good lid. I mix a lot of paint every time, so I have paint to carry on with. The mixing of the paint is pretty time consuming, and as I do this only in my leisure time, I like to have my paints ready to go when I feel like painting. So there you can see a nice creamy, runny consistency. I have gold, which is usually 24 karat gold. I will call this 18 karat gold. If you think this accent is a little bit strange, it is. I'm from South Africa. I was born and raised in South Africa, lived there for many years. I had my children in South Africa, and then we came to live in America in 1991. My base coat is going to be black, nice thick black that I've got a couple of different types of paint, mainly Floetrol and Liquitex glass to give it a good finish. Now the base coat also creates the flow extender. So I'm going to pour some black in 2 different spots onto the very generous pouring onto the paint, onto the canvas. I'm going to place my large open cup. Remember, it's an open cup. I'm going to put that in there. It's going to hold nicely. And I'm going to place my smaller cup. I use a smaller and a bigger cup for different effects and different, just to get like different effects. I love the cells, I love the fingerlings, I love the striping. I like things that look like geodes as well. So I use the 2 different sizes. I'm using the same palette as I did. I created this painting yesterday. It's almost dry. You can see the cells, the fingerlings. I'm using the exact same set of paint, and let's see how different it's going to actually look. So I'm going to start with this pearl. I'm going to pour some pearl paint into the open cup from a pretty high distance. What I'm trying to get here is for the pearl to go under the paint, under the cup and into the pool, into the puddle of paint that I've created around it. I like to work with a lighter, darker effect. So I'm going to then use this beautiful metallic blue. Blue's my favorite color. If you see pictures of my previous works that I've done over the last year, there's a lot of blue, a lot of different blues. I'm then going to add the gold. So I'm going to add it from a high point here so it really gets in. You can probably see the colors going, moving into the puddle around the cup. That's what we're looking for. The cups sometimes move, we just got to move them back. It's a very informal way of painting. There's no really right or wrong way to do it. Once you figure out the consistencies and the effects that you like, you'll then figure out your own techniques or the techniques that you prefer. Personally, I don't like using the hairdryer. I am a senior. I was born in 1958 and I like to use more hands-free. I find a hairdryer quite heavy and the repetitive motion not very comfortable. So over the last year, I've created beautiful pieces, and I will share pictures with you on my channel soon, that I've given away. I've given it to doctors, given it to friends, given it to co-workers who have bought beautiful homes, and kind of help them work with their, around their decorating. It really puts a smile on everybody's faces when we give it to them. All right, so here it is, my 2 cups sitting in there. You can see some of the activity. Cells are starting to form around the cups. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of swipe the cups around in different ways so the paint lands. I'm starting to spread it and tilt it, and that is going to be before I pour it. I then get rid of the paper cup. Let's see what we've got going on here with the small paper cup. I'm going to move it around a little bit. By moving it around, it's actually creating a little bit of a swipe. And you will in time learn what a swipe is. That's where you take different colors, you kind of move them around and you thin them out, creating a nice interaction or chemical reaction. The creation of the cells happens because of the viscosity and the type of the paint. Some of my paints have got a little bit of satin enamel in it. Satin enamel has an oily component, and that also creates the cells. You can probably see here there's some beautiful cells starting to form over there and on both sides. I do see a little bit of air bubbles. We have to get rid of the air bubbles, so I'm going to use my blowtorch. Here comes the noise. The torching actually pops the air bubbles. If you leave too many air bubbles in the paint, they'll get kind of holes and little things in them that you don't really want. So as you stretch it along, you want to remove the bubbles. I'm going to add a little bit more blue. I feel very blue today. Blue's like my favorite color at the moment. I'm going to put a little bit of my metallic blue, and I'm going to layer it I'll do a layer of pearl over that. Layering the paint is what gives you the effect. And then I'm going to drizzle some of the dark aquamarine blue, just because blue's my favorite and it always comes out well. All right, I'm now going to start to tilt it. And as I'm tilting it in a roundish type of fashion, so as not to lose my cells, I'm finding a couple of dry spots on the canvas. I'm going to fill those in with some extra of my black, which is going to act as the flow extender, and it's also the base paint. So I just generously pour some all around the areas that I feel need paint. You may think that a lot of paint gets wasted, but it's not really. This is mostly Floetrol and Liquitex and water. But you do need good coverage in order to make the paints flow. You don't want to stretch them out so much that there's no coverage. Let's give it a nice layer over there. I've actually shared this this painting with my grandchildren. All 6 of my grandchildren, from the time the youngest one was 3, 2.5 or 3, they all know how to pour paints. We use a child-friendly paint, and we have lots of fun. They know how to use this mini blower. So here you can see I'm starting to move the paint around on the canvas, trying to maintain the integrity. So I'm moving it in a circle. You can see the gold, a little bit will flow over, which is fine. That is the intention. You see the pattern starting to develop and to form. But look at these gold cells. I'm not losing any integrity there. Those gold cells remain as they are. Nice round full cells. I'm going to keep Turning this around. Okay, it looks like I've got a lot of paint in the middle here, so I'm going to draw it over. Alright, let's let it rest for a moment. I'm going to bring some more paint over into this corner, but I do want to leave some negative black space. So I'm going to go over that corner and then I'm going to come straight back. That corner is covered. I've got some negative black space in this corner over here. I'm going to add a little bit more black because I don't want to lose too much of the striations in the cells over here. I dripped a little bit. I'm a messy painter. I'm not sure if I can be called an artist, but I'm happy to be called a craftist or just a hobbyist. You can see how the paint is moving. See it moving as I tilt it. For some reason this corner remains very dry, so I'm going to add a little bit more paint there to get a nice even coat of the black negative paint. There we go, into that corner. It's going to give it a nice little striated effect. Alright, now I'm going to bring it back so there's a little bit more. See this corner up here, this nice negative black space. I'm going to move this gold pattern a little bit more to the center. All right, so you can see how well those fingerlings and cells actually maintain their integrity. Okay. Right, now I'm going to torch it once more because I see quite a few. I'm going to just wipe my hands. I see where there could be quite a few bubbles. There's some bubbles over there. In fact, there's a little bit of something in there that I'm just going to take out. Give it a minute for the paint to rest, for the cells to figure out where they're going to land. Now you can see along the edges where the paint has come down, is beautiful. The pattern actually continues over the edge of the paint of the canvas, and I love these thick gallery wrap paints, box type canvases, because the edges actually become part of the painting. So when we hang these up, they do not need to be framed. They're very solid, and this is kind of a heavy paint, so we do need a strong canvas. You have Alright, let's just look at it for a few minutes and admire what we have here. So let me step away for 1 second and turn off this light that's shining. Okay, look at that. So we can look at it from this angle. The paint is still moving. I'm going to just gently turn it around, give you a view from this side. And I'm going to give you a view from the other side. A lot of people that I give the paintings to, they actually see things within the painting. I don't know if you can see here, but I could see like a little bit of a snake over there. The spots gives you a little bit of an alligator look. There's a hand, could be a fist and a pointing finger, or even an alligator mouth. People see a lot in these paintings. They keep them for a while, and then they decide how they're going to hang them, and whether it's going to be portrait or landscape or next to others. I do like to do like a series like these that I'm doing now, so that if somebody has got large wall space, or we have large wall space you want to cover, you can use 2 or 3, even 4 of 16 by 20 paintings as opposed to one large painting. Some people will step them down on a stairway or anyway. They're so versatile. You can do them with any way. So there we go. There you can see what it looks like now. What do you see in this painting? I will post this to my channel pretty soon, and appreciate you watching. And I will show you the dry painting yesterday. In fact, as I'm talking to you, you've got all these new cells popping up. See all these new cells popping up? Great effect, great That's from the consistency and the type of paint and also the content of the paint. As I said, some oilier paints create different content, different. Actually, if you turn this around, which I'm going to do, I see a bald eagle flying over there, but that'll probably disappear and it'll change it a little bit as the painting dries. Stretch it a little bit more. I do like to baby these paintings for a little bit as they are getting into their drying mode. I do like to scrape the edges, take the painting, although I have taped off the back and it becomes pretty messy, especially with the black base. I do like to make sure there's not too much paint dripping off. So I'm going to give you one more peek. It looks so pretty, all these geodes forming. Very easy to do. I don't know if you have to be artistic or creative or messy. You have a high tolerance for mess. What works for will work for doing this type of painting. You can start this type of hobby very, very easily and very, very cheaply. I started off using these canvases from Dollar Tree, $1 canvases. They're craft paint mixed with water only, and a little bit of Floetrol, which is available from a hardware store. And then I just started creating them. And as time's gone on, I've donated hundreds of paintings. I've had a craft show with my grandchildren. Some people buy them, some people want them, some people want you to make them. And some people, it's just nice to give them something beautiful or something that you've actually made. It's great as a wedding gift. It's great as any kind of celebratory graduation gift. Someone's moving into a new home, a home warming present. And then it's so lovely to get the actual pictures of the painting hung up in their home and how it works for them. So I'm going to give you one more peek, but I'm going to turn it around so you can see the other side, the bottom edge. See these beautiful interactions here, the nicer lacing in the cells over here. Really pretty. I use the thicker paint so I can maintain the integrity of the cells that I create, so they don't get lost. And it will dry, when these dry like this, when they dry pretty flat. And then after that I go ahead and I varnish it with a nice Liquitex varnish, so that it brings out the colors and the colors pop. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and I will be back with the dry version very soon or in the next video. Thank you.